The storm tossed James around like a leaf in the wild sea. When he woke up, he was on a beautiful, unfamiliar island. The air smelled like flowers, and the sound of waves suggested the island was peaceful. As James got up, some women in bright clothes approached. Their colorful attire stood out against the wreckage on the beach. They greeted him with warm smiles, showing both kindness and curiosity. "Welcome, stranger. You're safe here," said a woman with flowers in her hair. Grateful but confused, James followed them into the heart of the island. Even though they spoke different languages, their gestures and laughter showed hospitality. In the days that followed, James, the only survivor of the ship, explored the island and got to know its lush landscapes and the close-knit community of women and children. Spending time with the children, he formed a special bond with Tamu, a lively boy with a contagious laugh. James got more and more curious about the strange things on the island, and lots of questions were bothering him. To get some answers, he asked Gia, the friendly woman who had been showing him around the green island. Looking concerned, James asked Gia, "Why aren't there any men on this island? Tamu, who seems to be the oldest, is just 12. What's going on? What aren't you telling me?" Gia felt a bit uneasy with all the questions. She answered, "There are things about this island that we keep to ourselves and don't share with people from outside," sounding like she didn't want to talk about it. But James didn't stop. He wanted to know more. But why keep it a secret? "What's the reason?" he asked, a mixture of frustration and urgency underlying his words. Gia responded with a mysterious smile, looking at James with intense eyes. "It's better for you to focus on fixing your boat and leaving before the next full moon," she said in a mysterious way. Gia's words made James feel really anxious. A shiver ran down his spine as he realized that the island had big secrets, maybe more dangerous than he first thought. One sunny afternoon, while sitting near the shore, James noticed a bit of sadness in Tamu's eyes. Wanting to learn more, he gently asked, "Tamu, you seem a bit quiet today. Is everything okay?" Tamu hesitated before finally saying, "James, I need to tell you something. When the next full moon rises, I won't be here anymore." Surprised, James looked at Tamu with concern. "Where will you be going? Why are you leaving?" Tamu looked towards the horizon, his voice carrying uncertainty. "I'll be joining the other men. They come for the boys when they turn 13. This revelation raised many questions in James' mind, but Tamu was vague, his answers like shadows on the water. "I can't say much, James. It's a secret. I shouldn't be talking to strangers about the island," Tamu confessed, a hint of sadness lingering in his eyes. Despite feeling uneasy, James respected Tamu's boundaries. As the days passed, he found himself torn between the warmth of the community and a growing sense that there was more to the island than its friendly appearance suggested. Questions about the island's history were met with evasive responses, and a mysterious secrecy hung in the air, leaving James with a knot in his stomach. You are watching the Tales of the Savannah. Subscribe and be part of the tribe. Now, let's get back to the story. One day, Nandi, the leader of the women, called James to her dwelling. James felt a bit nervous because he hadn't met Nandi yet, and he didn't know what to expect. The women on the island talked about Nandi with great respect, saying she was a strong and important leader that everyone looked up to. Nandi was an elderly woman who exuded beauty and grace. Despite the passage of years, her presence was marked by a timeless elegance. Her face carried the gentle lines of experience, and her eyes sparkled with wisdom. Every movement she made was deliberate, showcasing a poise that came from a life well lived. "James," Nandi began, "how's your boat building going?" She looked curious and concerned. "It's going well," James replied, a bit nervously. "I'll talk to the women on the island and ask them to help you, so you can finish the boat quickly. You should leave soon. Having a man here upsets the island's balance." Nandi waved her hand, dismissing him. "Thank you. You can go now." "Sorry, Nandi." James hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "I wanted to ask if I could take Tamu with me when the boat is done. I need help sailing it." Nandi got angry. "How dare you ask that? Just finish your boat. You have 2 weeks. Then, leave." James quickly bowed and left the room. The next day, a group of women came to the beach to help James build the boat quickly. Over the next few days, James and Tamu worked hard in the sun, turning the wood into a strong boat ready to take James away from the island. As the time came for James to leave, he gathered supplies and said goodbye to the women who welcomed him. Tamu, who helped him a lot, was very sad. He hugged James, his new friend. It was a sad day because James was leaving, and it was also the night of the full moon, the night Tamu had to leave too. As the sun set, making the water look fiery, James sailed away and quietly drifted to the other side of the island. He hid in the bushes near the village and saw something surprising. The villagers were dancing and celebrating, and Tamu was in the middle of it. Tamu's farewell was in full swing. The drumbeat got louder as the villagers took Tamu deep into the forest. As they got to a clearing, the women hugged him, and then one by one they went back to the village. Alone in the forest, Tamu sat on the damp ground, making a soft whimpering sound. Suddenly, a familiar voice broke the silence. "Come on, Tamu. We don't have time," James whispered urgently, appearing from the shadows. Tamu looked confused but grateful. "Hurry, Tamu. Let's go," James urged, extending a hand to the frightened young man. Tamu locked eyes with James, torn between the safety offered by the men and the duty ingrained in him by his people. "I cannot go, James. I have to do this, otherwise, everyone will be in danger." The forest floor began to form a chilling fog, and a cold breeze swept through the air. James, undeterred, pressed on, his words desperate. "Your people left you out here to perish. You have a second chance at life. Let's go, Tamu." Tamu stood up, his mind full of conflicting thoughts. Since he was young enough to understand, he'd been told of a sacrifice he must make, a duty for the greater good, yet the reasons were never given to him. Running his hand nervously through his hair, he took a deep breath. "Lead the way, James," Tamu said finally, a mixture of fear and gratitude in his eyes. And with that, they ran into the forest, Tamu allowing James to guide them through the winding paths, their footsteps echoing against the backdrop of encroaching fog. As they hurried away, the air around them grew cold, and a white fog began to rise even more. The urgency of their steps matched the beating of their hearts. James felt dizzy, and panic hit him, but he kept going. Tamu followed, scared and breathless. Finally, they came out of the forest onto the moonlit beach, where their boat was waiting. But the fog stayed at the edges of the shore, like a wall. As the boat sailed away, James and Tamu felt relieved. Looking back, they saw the fog couldn't get past the invisible barrier that protected the shores. Their relief didn't last long. Nandi came out of the disappearing fog, radiating anger. Suddenly, Nandi screamed loudly, and the sound went deep into their souls. It was like she was grieving for what was about to happen to her beloved island. The boys, feeling safe, slowly drifted away, wondering what will become of this beautiful island. Thank you for watching our story, and we hope you enjoyed it. What lessons did you draw from this story? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of the tribe. Thank you for watching The Tales of the Savannah. We will see you next time, in the Savannah.